the last of the 4 hammers is right here. This one has some play in the fitment of the handle. So we're going to have to deal with that, and I think that is going to be after we deal with the face. Now this one doesn't have a harsh edge on the face like the other ones did. This end is kind of harsh. All the other edges are kind of sharp. But I don't really care about these edges here. This back here will get used, at least it does on my hammers. And the face gets used. So let's make sure that this is nice. And let's get rid of the handle. Let's get it off of there so we can just work with the head itself. I already know my lighting stinks, but I need plenty of light. I'm getting old. Eyes don't work like they used to. There is a wedge in the top. I don't think it's doing a whole heck of a lot because that's pretty loose. So I don't think it's going to take much to get the handle out of there. I'm just going to go ahead and take the biggest punch that I have. Must be 3/8 of an inch. I'm just going to try to knock it out of there. That didn't take much. I didn't even have to hit it hard. Here we go. So that part's done. That was easy. The inside here, I might file a little bit of that out. It was obviously painted before the handle went in. So, I think I'm going to take this out. I have a bench grinder with a wire brush on it. I might just take this out and wire brush this off. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. You don't need to see all that. Well, that took care of most of the finish. But you can see really all the imperfections from casting. They really show up. So, and it's not bad. It's actually quite a bit better than I thought it would be. I will have to take a file inside here to clean that up. And there's a couple of spots. Some of the spots the paint was actually stuck on there really good. Around here, right around the head. Sorry, I'm not keeping this in camera real well. Right around the head here. So I'm going to have to hit that with a file. I'm going to round off the edges inside here. Anyway, so we're going to get after some of that right now. The one thing I hate about having accessory jaws on your vise is that they never, when you're trying to clamp towards the top, they just want to flip up like that. They're kind of useless. So, let's do it this way. And we'll start with this file in these rounded areas. I may just grab a piece of leather to wrap around the head so I can clamp it in the vise better. Now, just to give you an idea, you should, hopefully you can see that, how it's rounded on that corner. And that's the opposite corner from it. So hopefully you can tell the difference there. Might be a little shiny. I can't see real well in the viewfinder because of the angle it's at. This corner is kind of nice and rounded in here. This corner is still pretty hard. So that's what I'm going after. I'm just kind of rounding this out a little bit, smoothing everything out. We'll start with the file and work down with some sandpaper. You saw that only took a minute maybe. I'll just go around and I'll do the rest of them like that. I'm not going to make you watch all of it. I am going to grab a piece of leather to put in here instead of these plastic jaws. So I'll be back in a few minutes. So now I'm going to go around, do the sides of the head, the face here. Just to kind of, there's quite a bit of pitting around the edges. And like I said, I use the edge of the face. Sometimes I'll have to tap on it with 2 hammers to tap down a curved seam. So I do use that. Now at the same time, I'm going to try to radius that just a little bit because I kind of left a little bit of a sharp edge. And I'm just kind of, my file is just kind of rolling over that edge just ever so slightly. I don't want to put a big radius on it, I just don't want to have a sharp edge there. As long as you keep your file moving in that arc, it shouldn't leave any big flat spots in there that you have to take out later. I mean, you'll have to, of course, do some work with the sandpaper to do a little correction here and there, but pretty much got everything rounded around the head there. I did this end too. Got it all rounded out, nicely profiled. I did the face with 120 grit. It had some pretty deep scratches from whatever they used to go over it. I'm assuming it was some kind of a grinder. But I went over it with 120. I went over in 3 different directions to kind of get those scratches out. Each time I went over one direction, the scratches ran top to bottom. So I went side to side, got those scratches out. Then I ran at an angle, got those scratches out, and ran at the other angle and got those scratches out. Wanted to make sure that I had all the grinder marks out. And I think I've got them all now. So it looks pretty good. I got the sides of the face all went around. Now it's just a matter of getting after it with some 220 grit. I didn't do anything with the rest of this. I'm not gonna. I may. I mean, I may get kind of crazy at some point. You just never know. I won't do it on camera, but, you know, because going down that rabbit hole isn't so good. But I'm going to work on the face a little more. And I'm going to start going after it with some 220. Because I think that's the next step here. Got my little leather block. And I've been using this one, so it's probably not going to form anything else anymore. But my scratches are running this way, so I'm just going to start going across the other way. I might finish this one down to 800 grit, just to show you the difference. The other ones I went to 600 and then I polished them. I might take this one down to 800, maybe even 1,000 before I polish it. So just to show you that you can almost get a good polish on it just with the sandpaper grits alone. So I'll 220 it and I'll bring it back and show you what it looks like after the 220. You can see it'll start getting that shine to it already after 220 grit. This area here is a radius, so it's kind of rounded. The best way to do that I found is with this little chainsaw file. I started out with this bigger round file. This is a metal rat tail file. A lot of people call it. What do they call this? It's a Johnson file. I don't know what. It's just a round file. Works really good. It's just the right radius for in here. So that's what I use to clean up most of the marks. Now I need to clean up the file marks from this thing, because this is a pretty aggressive file, and it moves a lot of material really fast. But then I come in with this little chainsaw file, and it's a lot easier because I can just keep it kind of moving in the radius. It still moves a good amount of material, but I have more control. Now here's a spot where it's a little high in the middle, so I'm going to go back to the bigger file. Clamp that in there a little better, huh? I'm just going to move just a little bit more this way. Now I'm going to remove some of it from this side, and when I rotate the head again, quarter turn, I'll take the rest of it out. But that's not so bad there. But it's a little steeper than this side, and it's one of those you're not going to get perfect unless you want to spend all day working on this, because now I got to flip over and switch. Piece of leather wants to just keep moving in there, and that's the only way I'm going to get after it. And get both of them the same, just to keep switching. I already got this sanded to 220, but now I see that it is much, much different than the other side. So you just have to kind of give it a little more. So I'm going to work these two top ones, get them to look the same. I'm going to work the two bottom ones and get them to look the same. I'm going to call it quits. I'm not going to get them all to look the same, but you're going to wind up spending so much time that you're just going to go nuts doing it. Along with the files, this block has a radius edge here, and that helps for getting in here. I can just kind of get in, kind of with the sandpaper, clean it up real nice. And I just did that radius edge, I just did with a couple of bevelers. And took my time. So it's just time consuming, but you know, for an inexpensive hammer, I did look at some C.S. Osborne hammers again. They came down a little in price from what they were a couple months ago. So maybe they're getting a little more affordable. It was still almost 50 bucks. But it's something to consider, you know. For some of this too, you can go with your file and just use it to back some of your sandpaper too. But you just want to work it, keep it moving into the radius. So I'm going, I mean, I hope you can tell. And it cleans it up really nice. You just keep doing that with all your grits, and it's going to come out looking sweet. I'm done with the 220 grit. I think everything turned out reasonably decent. I'm happy with it. This end is pretty decent. It's no sharp edges on the back or on the face. I haven't done anything with the hole here yet, so it's just got paint in it is what it is. But that's okay. What I'm probably going to do is just on the handle here, I'm just going to profile down a little farther so that it fits a little tighter. Not a big deal. So the next step is to go and move on to 400 grit, and I'm going to do that tomorrow because I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm going to go in. We'll get back after it tomorrow. I finally got back after the hammer here. I got it down to 600 grit. I'm pretty happy with both ends of it here. The eye for the handle is actually pretty good. It's not bad at all. I am going to try to pull the piece of metal out of the handle and see if I can't make something a little bit bigger to drive in there, and maybe spread it a little farther and see if that takes care of the issue with the wobbly handle, and see what happens. We'll see. I'll record it. I don't know if I'll show it. So let me get after that and we'll see how that goes. So I thought I could, pull that wedge out. Good luck with that. That didn't work so good. So now I'm just kind of going around here and I'm going to try to refit the handle. I don't know how well that's going to work, but it doesn't have to be pretty here. I just got to take it down a bit. And I want to be kind of gingerly with it, so I'm using some 80 grit. I just thought I'd kind of at least let you know what I'm kind of doing here. I had really hoped that I could just pull that wedge out and put a little wider wedge in there to compensate. But I don't really have a whole lot to go down here. It is tapered from top to bottom a little. So while the top is still a little bit too big, the bottom is a lot too big. So I'm just going to keep working at this. It won't take me too long. I have about, probably 2 hours into making the head to this point, and right now it's just going to take another 10 minutes or so with the Dremel, with the rotary tool to polish that out. So really there's nothing much to do there. I got my handle down to fit after cutting it off because that's what I had to do. I made a wedge and I pulled the wedge out after I split it. So I made this wedge just out of the leftover chunk that was cut off. I cut this at a little bit of an angle because it's a little bit of an angle here. So we'll just kind of set that there. There it is, all the way down. We'll take this wedge that I pulled out and I'll cross that, put that across. The other one I'll put in this way. I'll move over to the other bench, polish it up. This hammer should be done. 4 hammers. They all came out really nice. This was the first one, and I think the least expensive, and it came out really nice. It's got a really long handle on it, kind of too long for Leathercraft in my opinion, but there's a nice swell right there where my hand is, so it'd be pretty easy to just take off the bottom part of that handle. The other ones, they have a nice handle length, I think, because you're not really beating down on the leather that hard. But once you get the face polished, you don't have to worry about it damaging your leather. So I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. This is kind of a nice light little hammer, and it came out really, really nice. I really like the way it came out. So that's the 4 hammers. They were all under $20 a piece. I want to say they were under $17 a piece. There's the links down below for all 4 of them. They are affiliate links. If you use those to purchase these hammers, it helps the channel out. It helps me to be able to buy stuff like this and do videos on them. So, that being said, y'all stay safe. God bless. Subscribe if you're not already. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. I always like to read them. I always respond to them. And we'll catch you in the next video. The handles are coming next. Handle wraps, trimming them down. Some kind of cool stuff. We've got some really neat stuff planned for one of them. Thanks for watching.